Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Also, a reminder, check out the Right Time YouTube channel. Lots of YouTube exclusive content, including most recently my review of Stevie Wonder, October 10th at Madison Square Garden. Check that out. Anyway, it is that time of week where we have a guest join us. Sometimes he's like our Foxworth Friday guy, but we had to redo this. Dominique a little bit. It's a lot going on. But Joel Anderson, what's going on, brother?
My brother, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you having me back. I know I'm not Fox, you know what I'm saying, but I can fill in. I'm a good 4th or 5th corner. You know, I can.
No. You was the Nickelback. You was the Nickelback. It just the order of things just got a little bit thrown off because of some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I needed people to understand that the fact that we're willing to put you on the field on 3rd down is the indicator of how much faith we have in you.
I appreciate that. And you know, one thing, it also reminds a lot of people that I'm out here, man. You know, people from home will reach out. I saw you on Bomani show. I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm still out here in the world a little bit. I've been keeping a low profile, doing daddy daycare, but I'm out here. Both put me back on, you know.
No, Sean got spotted at Target for the first time. He ain't even think it was possible. Like he forgot we was on YouTube.
Oh man, that's so fun. I know for you that's not fun, but for the rest of us, for the most part.
No. It was great fun for me to hear, especially because Sean, one of the good ones, don't get me wrong, but random black people walking up on you at Target, you got to wonder why. Now Sean got to have a whole new thing, man. I know why this black person looking at me, because I'm down with Bomani. And then by the time you figure out what's really going on, your pockets look like elephant ears. Just watch what part of town you in.
Well, look, man, I mean, the thing is, too, you never know. It might be a Deion fan that might pull up on you, you know? So, I mean,
true.
Sometimes, and look, we don't have to get into it this time. I think people really took what we said last week out of context, because I thought we were much more middle of the road. Yeah, I don't think we said that he was bad. We just said we don't know the things that he is good at and the NFL scouts see. We're not really qualified to talk about that.
Bingo. That was what was lost. I was like, the people who eat the film can tell you what he sees. I am not the person who can do that. I can just tell you what I see with my own eyes. Now, of course, he went out there without no receivers and threw for 400 yards after that.
Bro, and K-State, I mean, so the one thing that I thought about as I was watching this game, and it gets into the 4th quarter, and I don't know if it hit you like this or how much of the game you saw, they're better than I thought they were going to be. And their defense is much better than I thought they were going to be. And they play hard. Like, they haven't quit. They still play hard for Deion, man.
Well, that's what I realized last year when they had those games, like the game against SC and the game against Oregon, where they got their doors blown off the rip, but they do not quit, right? Like his teams go all the way to the whistle. Like, if we really talk about what Colorado has done and what they look like, they're far more interesting than the binary takes that people want to have going in one direction or another. Like the things that make you ask the question, can Deion Sanders coach? I can point to some that say absolutely. I can point to some that say, I don't know about this one, right? The problem with this team to me, and the reason why I thought they were going to be worse than they are, and why I do think I could argue that fundamentally they're just not a good team, can't run, can't stop the run, can't protect the quarterback. It is hard for me to say that you are a good team when I say those 3 things about you.
Right. And they don't have enough depth to overcome all this. So it's just like they place a lot of pressure on Shedeur, Jimmy Horn, who's hurt, and Travis Hunter, who's hurt, and a lot of those other guys, man. They put a lot of pressure on them to be operating at peak efficiency every week, because you're right. Like, they cannot impose their will on basically anybody. Like, who was the first game? It wasn't Sam Houston State. Who was the North Dakota State? Yeah, man, they could not impose their will against an FCS school, and not even the best FCS school anymore. So, yeah, when you look at them, you're just like, man, I just don't know. But clearly they figured out a way, some smoke and mirrors or whatever, to make them competitive against even really good teams like K-State. They could have won that game. That was a game that they probably should have won, actually.
Hey, man, speaking of Travis Hunter, I want to tell people some things. I kind of want to tell it to Travis Hunter, but I wanted to tell it to all the Travis Hunters or wannabe Travis Hunters out there, like coming down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds real cool. I can play two ways. And I know that it probably appeals to your ego. You so cold that you can do both of these things. Okay? I know that's how it feels to you. You doing 2 scholarships worth of work for 1 scholarship.
Ooh.
Like this the only place where they be making you feel like a double shift is a privilege.
I mean, man, it's like, hey, man, you come out here and run some routes too. Really?
Yeah.
I can play the positions that run all game long. I can play the position where I have to run every play. Thanks.
Yes.
Yes. And my thing is too, is in addition to that, man, you taking twice the hits. People talk about him having durability concerns. He's playing 2 games in a game.
This is what I'm like. This is a con to me. That is you have two-way players in high school because you don't have that many players. You don't have that many good players, right? Like that is why you do this in high school. It's not something that's intended for you to do on this level. There's a reason why people stop doing it. And it's not because people stop being capable of doing 2 things, right? Like I am down on our overall specialization thing that we do with sports, right? You and I grew up in an era with not just a Deshaun Sanders and a Bo Jackson, but a Brian Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like
a Ron Curry.
Yes.
Who else? I mean,
Julius Peppers.
Tony Gwynn is a career all-time assist leader at San Diego State, man.
Yes.
Tony Gwynn. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, dudes did that all the time.
Yeah. Like Julius Peppers. Part of why Julius Peppers is so famous is because he wasn't just on the team at Carolina. He was out there playing. Donovan McNabb was on the team at Syracuse for a little while. But like, cats shouldn't just be playing one sport all the way through. Like
Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward.
Yes,
Ward.
yes. Heisman Trophy winner in the NBA. To the point where I didn't appreciate the magnitude truly of Deion. I appreciated it with Bo Jackson.
Yes.
With Deion, I didn't fully get it, like how big a deal it was that he was so good at both of these sports because he wasn't the only one that was out here. I'm not on single sport specialization. But once you over there playing a sport, homie, you can't be out this playing offense and defense is cuckoo.
It's just tough. So I don't know Travis Hunter's situation. Obviously, he looks at Deion as a father figure. If I'm Travis Hunter, and I couldn't be Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is a different breed. That's a real, he's a real first round draft pick guy. Maybe I have a soft tissue injury the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe my hamstring just ain't quite right. I don't know if I can get back out there, coach. I would love to be out there, but don't think I can go.
I mean, it's the second year in a row he got folded up. Like, that's the thing that's going to worry people. It's not simply that he got hurt, but he got folded up. And I didn't see the shot where he got folded up this year. But when he got folded up last year, that hit didn't look that hard.
Oh, well, I could tell immediately that it impacted him really badly, though. I mean, maybe because he's so
the one last
angular.
year?
Yeah, at Colorado State. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. I knew that it was bad.
Okay,
but it didn't feel like Jack Tatum had come and got him.
You didn't think it was a 4-week injury or whatever it was.
No,
I
didn't
look
not.
like that. Yeah. I think you're right, but I mean, man, the thing is, without having the ability to specialize, like maybe he couldn't. I don't know. Maybe some balls you let go when you have a little bit more time out there on the field. Like maybe, you know what? That's a hospital ball. I don't need to get that one. You know, maybe I don't need to jump for that. You know,
I know this. Maybe this is morbid. Maybe this is dark, but my favorite and most hilarious piece of football jargon maybe is hospital ball. Like when the thing about a hospital ball is, and it makes us such bad people, when you see somebody throw a hospital ball and somebody gets hurt, you laugh a little. You're like, oh, yeah, that was a hospital ball right there.
Oh, bro. Because, also coming back to the huddle, man, it's like, hey, what you doing, man? What? Why? What did you see?
Your cats be so hot over them hospital balls.
No, didn't we hear Devontae Adams talk about that in one of them little, I can't remember what documentary he was in, the Netflix thing he was in, and he's out there getting hit. He's like, I've never been hit. Like, I've never had this kind of year before in my life. He was tired of going out there reaching up for them hospital balls, man.
Yep, there's the stretcher ball, and then there's the stretcher ball just stretch you out a little bit. The hospital ball.
Bro, They lucky ain't no more Quinn Coryatt's out there, man. They lucky ain't no more Steve Atwaters out there. No more Ronnie Lotts out there, man.
No. Well, it's like yeah, the Steve Atwaters and Ronnie Lotts, yes, they are glad they are not out there. The truth is, they are still out there. Derwin James is still out here. They've just kind of legislated them out. What they have gotten rid of is this, though. The guys whose entire existence is doing that. John Lynch is a great example of this. John Lynch was playing half the field in Tampa and not really the range to truly do that. But bring that thing right here in the middle. Cam Chancellor, I feel like that was what he was there for.
Chuck Cecil.
Yeah, Chuck Cecil, that was the only. And Chuck Cecil is a defensive coordinator right now. And I'm sorry, I am amazed that he can remember the calls.
I mean, it was just a different time. And also, don't you feel like as kids, a real part of even NFL highlights were like clotheslines? Like you don't even see clotheslines no more. There used to be a lot more clothesline tackles out there.
Dog, jacked up.
Yeah,
jacked up was much CTV.
It's still, I mean, you put it on today, I bet. It might have an audience. You know, as much as I hate to admit it, that's where we from. That's the football we from, man. You know,
it would take me a little time to get used to it.
You don't think you've got that kind of taste for blood in your mouth anymore?
No, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Like I remember every night, like them cats be in the prayer circles now, man. Maybe I'm just older, right? Maybe the kids, they grew up watching wild stuff on the internet. So maybe the kids would be in the position. But after about a year or so, after they changed things up, I was like, oh damn, we was wilding.
I mean, man, look, the thing I remember about the first Madden game for Sega Genesis is that they would have that ambulance come out there. And not only would the ambulance come out, it would like run over players. Like it was just kind of funny to see, oh man, this guy got really messed up. Also, he ran over all these other players to get out there to get to him. But we just thought that we took that violence for a game. Then we heard all these testimonies. But I still think like at its root, like if somehow they could do a jacked up that was, you know, I don't know. It didn't seem quite as like feral or brutal. Like maybe it might still have an audience. Cause I still like a dude, you know, getting up and, you know, giving them that, you know,
dude, we're here for the violence. I don't know why the kids that really enjoy playing football, they're there for the violence.
I mean, so we all know that I was the fastest 10-year-old in the country in 1988.
Hi guys, Joel Anderson was the fastest 10-year-old in America.
But I also played football, and I played for a little league team called the Southwest Steers. People in Mo City know who they are. Thurman Thomas played for the Southwest Steers.
Hold on, I would like to call a quick timeout right fast. I, as a Texan, am shocked that one would name a team the Steers.
I know. But the alliteration.
I understand that. But for those of you who don't know the difference between a bull and a steer, is the steer was born a bull, but can no longer rep that set.
So you say they call it they?
Say it again.
You said they call the bull they? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. That's exactly what the bulls. Steers are theys in the modern parlance. So I am surprised that y'all would name yourselves after castration, but maybe that's just how y'all was. But
I would like to let you know we didn't lose a game in 2 years and 2 TGCFL championships. I was the quarterback of those teams, by the way, just for the record.
And tell the people how much throwing you guys did.
I mean, I probably threw about 3 passes in 2 years. I mean, look, but this is 1988, man. We just, I scored a lot of touchdowns.
I just remember once seeing you talking about your Al Bundy-ish exploits, and you had made the point on Twitter, we ain't do no whole lot of throwing.
Well, you know what it is? I mean, I grew up in a great neighborhood, a lot of smart kids, but I know the one thing the coach told me is that I could remember the plays. You know, so I could remember the plays. I was good, and I was kind of a leader on the team. You know, I brought people together. Anyway, the whole point of this is that the thing that I loved about football, for as fast as we were, I like running into people, man, and I still liked running into people when I was 18 years old. The thing that you miss, besides the locker room and the camaraderie, man, is like the feeling of hurting somebody or knocking them down. Like that is a real thing that if you play football for the most part, I think you got to have that in you. So it's in those guys, but yeah, they're kind of taking it out of the game in a lot of ways. Not taking it out of the game, but like I guess the excess, some of the parts that I enjoyed, that's being taken out.
It can't be the only reason why you own the team no more. That's the difference.
Yeah, right.
Like, if you are going to play off of the defensive line, you now have to be able to cover somebody.
Right.
Anybody.
Right.
Somebody, though, you have to be able to cover.
So there's like basically no more room for Reggie Evanses in the
right.
The Reggie Evans of the NFL no longer exists. It's like, hey man,
the idea that there's nobody who exists in the NFL anymore just because they scare people, right? Like look, Jack Tatum's autobiography was called "They Call Me Assassin."
I mean, he did not apologize for paralyzing somebody. He refused to apologize for it, man.
What exactly did he have to apologize for? He didn't try to paralyze.
He didn't try, but I guess like as a gesture of humanity, you'd be like, I hate that happened.
I get that. But I have looked at it. I was actually reading up on that. And Daryl Stingley was talking about how he forgave Tatum. And I'm kind of like, but he wasn't trying to do it.
Yeah. Well,
it was an unfortunate break.
He wasn't unfortunate break. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't trying to kill the man or almost kill the man. But was he trying to disable him? I don't
think he was trying to disable him more than that was the thing. He was always trying to disable somebody. Like trying to take what we were trying to do, and it's understandable for a number of reasons, but trying to get football to a place where it's like, well, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. No, that's part. Like, how many players, Steve Atwater is a great example, but we really think about how many players I can't cover, but it's cool. I'm going to make you piss your pants if you come anywhere near me. You remember Dirty Waters?
Man,
Dirty Waters?
Andre Waters, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, man. Andre Waters, bro. That's the id of the Buddy Ryan defenses, man. Right?
Yes, rest in peace, by the way.
Rest in peace. Do you think Levon Kirkland could get on an NFL football today?
No, there's no place for a 275-pound linebacker.
I mean, the Steelers had Eric Green, who was like 6'7", 280, who could not, I mean, as far as I can recollect, could not catch. And then they had Levon Kirkland, who was like, he was 6'3", 275? 275 at middle linebacker, bro. It was just like, I don't know how good he actually was. I'm sure there's like data now that will show like, hey man, he was hell when he had to play against the Oilers and they were out there running, 4 wide. He wasn't of much use to us, Speaking of which, Bo, I heard you the other day, this is a Houston Oilers jersey. Shout out Earl Campbell. Shout out my cousin Vince, who got this for me at a Tom Thumb in Dallas.
You got a grocery store throwback all?
Yeah, $34, man. $34 because 34. And that's like, when he said it, I was like, I got to get this. So you up here rooting for Dan Campbell, Jared Goff. I get it. You know what I'm saying? There's something for that. Detroit is a city that I have a lot of affection for. Hey, brother, Houston, and we talking about the paradigm under which we grew up. The Texans have D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud. Is that not somewhat intriguing to you? Does that not make you think about, maybe I should think about, another team to put in the...
It is somewhat intriguing. That is fair. But I just want to point out, Aaron Glenn, H-Town.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, an original Houston Texan too, by the way.
That's right. I also need you to understand that when I made this decision, they had the black man as the offensive and the defensive coordinator. And I was a little disappointed when they took offensive coordinator away from the black man. But that white man they gave that job to, boy, he a beast.
Oh, man, don't he know what he's doing?
He a beast. So I knew it was fair. That's what I like. Nah, I'm a ride this thing out over here. You're right about that, though. I like how CJ get down. D'Amico, I like what's going on there, but I'm a stay where I'm at. But we got a commercial break. We're going to come up next, and we talk some more about some football, including about Joel's Arkansas brother crashing out on the radio.
Oh, man, don't put that man on me, but okay.
The NFL is back in full swing, which means you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite teams only on Prize Picks. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hear from me, Let's talk to somebody who uses Prize Picks. Shaw, how the picks going for you?
Bo, the picks have been picking. You can obviously hear my picks at the end of each episode, but with Prize Picks, you can also play with celebrities like Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sean O'Malley. You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. So, if you'd rather just hear from me, that's fine too.
There we go. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Sean, you got any trips coming up? I know for me, I'm starting to book out my travel plans for next year, and I'm excited to use Viator again.
So for me personally, I think I'm done traveling internationally for the rest of the year, especially after that trip to France. But I'm hoping to use Viator locally in my own city. Their app and website makes it easy to explore 300,000 plus travel experiences, so you can discover what's out there no matter where you're traveling and what you're interested in. I'm thinking I might make my way up the coast and see what Viator has to offer.
That sounds like a plan. Plus, their free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected. And Viator also offers 24/7 customer service, so you'll get support at any hour if things aren't going as planned. So to all our listeners, download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find the perfect travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator. All right, so when we sat down here, Joel Anderson had not heard Jerry Jones crash out on the radio. Here, listen to Jerry Jones crash out on the radio.
Let me tell you what I'll do about it. I will let us sit down and look at the decisions we've made over the last several years. Okay? I'll look at it. Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over a radio, and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. I'm not. And I really don't, and I don't even want our listeners to listen to me, to talk about, this is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask why.
A job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay. Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights?
Well,
now, listen, we both know we're talking to a lot of great fans and a lot of great listeners, and I am very sorry for what happened out there Sunday. I'm sick about what happened Sunday. Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone. I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning. And we can spend a lot of time going over zigging and zagging. One of the stupidest things I've ever done that anybody has ever analyzed is buy the Cowboys. It was an idiot that did that. So idiot things can turn into good decisions. Okay? Smart things can turn into bad decisions. The facts are that when you make one, you don't really know whether it's going to be good or not at the time. So let's just go ahead. I'm trying to answer your questions, man. You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
Joel, he crashed out.
Hey, man, now that it has happened, are you not surprised that this has not happened earlier? To me, it signifies one thing. Jerry Jones, and I've had the privilege of covering the Cowboys a few times, he's a very accommodating guy. And totally fine with taking criticism. Like, who takes more criticism in the NFL than Jerry Jones year over year over year, right? He's a pretty good sport about it. Bruh. Sunday hurt him.
Yes.
Sunday hurt him to the bottom of his heart, bro. I mean, it was his birthday, of course. And to lose like that, though, man. So, yeah, he's got to be hurt in a way that is, like, foreign to him.
I don't think he gets enough credit for being as accommodating. In fact, he doesn't get credit for being as accommodating as he is because he's too accommodating. Like, on one hand, I don't think these owners get nearly enough hell for how inaccessible they are and how rarely we ever have to hear from them about anything, matters large and small. You think about your favorite team, how many times you've ever heard the owner's voice. I find it preposterous, given how much money they get from regular people. I find it crazy that they can get away with that. But Jerry loved the spotlight so much that it feels less like being accountable than it feels like him just getting shine, right? And so that crash out right there on the radio, what made it bad for him was the idea he's talking about, I'll get somebody here to ask the kind of questions that I like. That to me is antithetical to what I have grown to expect from Jerry Jones, right? He gets that everybody's got a job to do. He gets what the game is. He gets that the game being the game is why his team gets so much attention. All of those things. But man, that loss to the Lions hurt his soul.
Well, it had to have broken something in him. And also, like, it's early in the season, right? And somebody got to win the NFC East. Maybe it'll be the Commanders, but it's like one of those things like, I won't believe that until it happens, right? And so Jerry is looking at that. He's like, there's not a great team in the NFC this year. And we're this bad. Like, it's not going to, like, to me, it feels like, oh, it's not going to happen for me. It's not like maybe in my lifetime, it might not happen for me. And that probably is a really tough realization to come to. I don't know if that's the realization he had, but if it did end up there, I would understand it.
Okay, so they are 3-3.
Right.
And we are getting to the point in the year, though, where teams are racking up enough games played that point differential matters as an indicator of how well you have or have not played. Even with a big old outlier game like the one they had, like getting up to 6, because they put the hurt on Cleveland earlier this year too, right? But like getting to 6 games, this means something, okay? The only teams in the NFC with a worse point differential than them are the Rams and the Panthers. The other teams in the league with the worst point differential, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Browns by 1 point.
Ooh.
All right. And the Patriots. Oh, and the Dolphins. But these are the dregs that we're talking about here. Or in the case of the Dolphins, a team with no quarterback.
Man, that's pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, a pattern is forming. And when they lose, they get their ass kicked, man.
Ooh. And they're losing. Watching a team not tackle,
man,
because they are really bad at tackling. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's one thing when a college team can't tackle.
Yeah,
when an NFL team can't tackle, and it's tough because you can't practice but so much in this day and time to like drill it in that we're going to tackle. Like that comes with the y'all are professionals.
Well, I feel differently on this. I feel like because the offenses are so much smarter, the tackling is going to be so much harder today than it was years ago. Because when you were just running dudes into a pile, of course it was easy to make tackles in, right? Now you got to catch dudes in space. But you are right that like if you are bad at tackling, and you can't tackle in space, or you don't even have enough like beef up front to get in and to impose your will, that it looks really, really bad. Like I feel like you'll feel sorry for a college team, but you get used to college teams getting their ass beat. Like it's just whatever. Like I saw, but like in the NFL for a team to get their ass beat, you're like, oh, something has gone wrong in this locker room, because these are not dudes that are these are not guys that make it to the NFL because they are like willing to lay down. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So something is amiss.
Nobody wants to root for a bunch of busters.
Uh-oh.
And not being able to tackle is an indicator. So I spy 11 busters.
Man, do you think, is Dan Quinn that important? Was Dan Quinn that important? Because like I feel like that could be an explanation, at least somewhat, for why they're not as good as they were.
So it's worth noting they went from Dan Quinn, a guy that lots of people seem to like, to Mike Zimmer, who seems to be well respected.
Right. And it's like Mike Zimmer actually has like a personal background story that is make you feel very sympathetic to him. Like I feel like that's how old boy with the Pistons is, Monty. Like yes. He gets by on a lot of that, right? But it's just like, man, we just don't like him so much. It don't matter, man. I don't care about your story, And that's kind of how like Mike Zimmer is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, but it ain't working, dog.
Yeah, man, it's not working. And I was wondering if the Quinn thing matters. They are beaten up a little bit. Like they do have a lot of injuries. But like if you're Jerry, man, and I think the thing is he likes Mike McCarthy. I don't think he wants to fire him. Like he gets very defensive every time people start asking him about, am I going to fire him? No, I'm not thinking about that at all. Really? Why not? Like why are you not thinking about it?
I was talking to somebody who worked for Jerry.
Oh, okay.
This is a while ago we had this conversation. But he made a very important point. And he was just like, I've met a lot of bad people, like in business, in sport, outside, but at that big money level. And he's like, not Jerry. He's like, as far as being loyal to your people goes, Jerry was light years ahead of the rest of the people that he saw within that. Like if Jerry rocks with you, Jerry's going to go with it as long as he can. It's actually a somewhat admirable quality about him. He's going to go with this as long as he can. Once he can't, then you're going to, it's going to have to be. Jason Garrett, of course, is a great example of this. And so with McCarthy, I don't think it's McCarthy's fault. We've been trying to fire Mike McCarthy since the day he got the job, and all he did up until this year was win 12 games a year.
Right. He's been a good coach. I think the thing is, though, is that like to the extent that we over-index the value of playoff games because they're just one game samples. I mean, the way that they've lost and the expectations the expectations going into those games and the way that they've lost have just really left people with a sour taste in his mouth. And then they're like, how did you only get one Super Bowl with prime Aaron Rodgers? Like it starts to add up a little bit. I don't necessarily think that makes him a bad coach, but like you said it yourself, it's the way you make people feel. Right. And like, I don't think people, for whatever reason, I don't know what Mike McCarthy got to do.
He's fat.
Man, you think football would be one of the places that
you would think, but I mean, that people, I've said this before. Somebody got mad at me about it. I'm like, I don't know why you're mad at me. I'm not saying he's a bad coach because he's fat. I'm telling you how people look at fat people.
No, it's real. It's real.
Like
people...
when them stories came out about at the end with him in Green Bay, and they said that he was getting massages instead of going to meetings. I was just like, see, I'm telling you, that came out because you fat.
Oh man. Well, also because one way you could look at that is like, well, he's taking care of his body, and like I'm sure you can take an iPad into a massage.
No, they think of that as slovenly behavior, though. Like I think that people hear those sorts of things about a man like that, and they see it as sloth, which, by the way, is one of the 7.
That's fair. And the Bible Belt. I mean, do you think Bill Belichick is swole? You know what I mean? Like what? I mean,
he's not fat.
But the thing is, people can't tell because his clothes cover. Even though it's kind of
correct. Well, Mike McCarthy can't hide it.
Right. Yeah, man.
But look, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's the Aaron. I went with Aaron Rodgers, though, as we've seen, that comes with its own challenges. Mm-hmm. Like you're not exactly in a free agent destination up there in Green Bay. Not if you ain't already got dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna cut your hair? So I do think a lot of that stacked up on people, but it really, the end in Green Bay, I think, was those reports were very unbecoming and did poor things for McCarthy. But this isn't his fault. He ain't the solution. It's the same thing I say about Dak Prescott. At some point, you should be the solution, though.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say, like, they're a good team, but does anybody really think they've got frontline enough talent to win a Super Bowl? Like, I don't.
We all thought we think they had frontline talent to win the Super Bowl. Like the top 4 or 5 is when you get to 6.
Right.
And you're like, this isn't like they don't have, for example, small things. They no longer have a Hall of Fame left tackle. They might have a very good left tackle. I don't know, but they had a Hall of Fame left tackle for a decade.
That offensive line.
Have that.
Yes. Yeah, that offensive line was great for so long. I mean, we don't know how good Ezekiel Elliott was, right?
Right.
At the end of the day.
Well, we know how good he is now.
Right. Exactly. And it's like that line covered up a lot of flaws, and now it's just like, all right, Dak, what you got?
Like you could only count on but so many games for Leighton Vander Esch. Well, you're not getting any games for Leighton Vander Esch anymore. Trayvon Diggs, has he looked like the guy that he looked like before? No. Right. Like that defense, when Michael Parsons out and Dexter Lawrence out, when they was on TV and they ran through that defense, that looked like sweepstakes winners.
Yeah, it's like, who is that?
I ain't never heard of none of them before. I ain't never heard of none of them dudes that was out there. Like I think other than Trayvon Diggs, it was really like, I don't know who any of you are.
the thing is that like there's not much they can do about it, like to fix it this year, right? Like I mean, they're just gonna have to gut it out. And I guess maybe that's why Jerry Jones, like if we just circle back to think about what he's thinking, what do you want him to do now? Like what can we see what's out there? We paid Dak. Everybody was like, we should pay Dak. We should pay CD. We got to pay Micah. You know, that doesn't leave a lot of money for a lot of other depth, man. And that's why you got Ezekiel back there. And that's why you don't have Tony Pollard. You got a guy named Rico Dowdell, you know, who, I mean, whenever there's a good running back in the NFL, and I'm like, I've never heard of you. I don't know what school you came from. I'm like, damn, like, I mean, you know, I guess y'all got some good scouts or something, but I'm just like, bro, I never even heard of this cat before. So it's just like, they're just going to have to make do, man. And this just might not be their year, which is really tough for the Cowboys fans to hear because they ain't been their year since I was in college.
Yeah. By the way, Amari Cooper got traded to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh.
And generally speaking, you traded me to Buffalo is like, that's beef.
Yeah, why you hating
know
me,
what I'm saying? Like,
what's
that
up?
is right. That is an utter disregard for me as a person. However, if you're leaving Cleveland,
Bruh.
and rather than playing with Deshaun Watson on nasty ass, you get to go play with Josh Allen, nobody's been that happy about being traded to Buffalo ever.
The thing that I can't figure out, though, is that, like, what was the source of the beef between him and Stephon Diggs? Because I'm just like, is this a football thing? Is it just like he can't trust Josh to be on time out of the pocket? Like, what does he get too focused in on, whatever? Because that's just weird. Like, it's not like Stephon had to contend with a whole bunch of other people for catches. So I'm just like, you know, if Amari's going there and expecting he's going, you know, I'm back to my old self. I just don't know. But yeah, I would much rather be up there than in Cleveland. Bottom line.
I don't know if Amari's like, I'm going to be back to my old self, but he'd be like, at least I'm going to get the ball.
Right.
Like, I don't know how much you've gotten to watch Deshaun Watson this year, man.
I mean, it's not a stretch to say the Cleveland Browns have one of the worst offenses we've seen in the history of our lives as football fans, right? Like, I think that like they're technically that bad. I don't know. Like, again, I've heard your theory about like Deshaun, like if you're not that guy anymore, it's hard to be that guy on the field. And it has to be that because I did not think the injury that he suffered was that debilitating, right? Like it was like, surely it was theoretically, and everybody's like, oh, he can recover from that. Like the issue is just like, yeah, like, do you want to stand behind that guy? Do you want to make him the face of your franchise? It's kind of, but like playing was never supposed to have been in doubt. The injury was never supposed to have been like that.
Right. It was just whether you were like, did you want it that bad?
Right.
That was the only question. And now, I mean, it is without question the worst contract in the history of American professional sports.
Ooh.
I don't think there's any way that you can get around that. If they wanted to get rid of him, it's $170 million, like $100-something million cap hit if they wanted to move on from him. The small option is like $110 million. And I read something where they're like, hey, maybe you could do something with that. $110 million cap hit if they get rid of him. So they're stuck. Like, it's one thing for him to be bad, but you can't even really just put him on the bench. I mean, you can, but...
And at a certain point, it's just like, yo, there's 21 other guys out. Well, you know, there's more than that on the roster. But it's like, at a certain point, man, like, you're going to get diminishing returns. These guys, their careers only last for so long. And so I got to be out here because y'all made a financial mistake. I got to be out here with a guy that gives us no chance to win. That seems like the recipe for, like, a hell of a documentary.
Right, but the thing is, no matter what, it's going to be somebody that gives you no chance to win because you can't afford to have two guys who give you a chance to win. The other one is Jameis, and I guess Jameis give you more of a chance to win.
I was going to say, Jameis could. What if Jameis is good? What if Jameis? You know, look, man. You know what really got me? Geno Smith. I was like, you know what, man? Maybe he just needed some time to mature. You know what I'm saying? He's aged into the game. He probably knows the things a little bit better. I don't think he's gonna throw 30 interceptions again. I don't think he'll do that.
He may not throw 30 interceptions again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, that team that Geno was on with the Jets, and then he got his face broke, and Ryan Tannehill came in, and they got like 10 wins or something, right? Tom Brady would not have been able to take that team to the Super Bowl, Brandon Marshall or not. I'm just saying that to say. And Geno didn't even get to play with Brandon Marshall. Like, I'm just saying that to say Geno was operating under far less optimal circumstances than we saw Jameis operate under down there. And Jameis just get too excited. Like every story that everybody tells about Jameis, oh wow, that could be taken so many ways. But every story that everybody tell about Jameis always involve him being just a little bit too hopped up, eyes all big, and he'd be out there making them excited ass decisions, because he's like a football genius. They say he can read everything, he can break everything down, but he'd be so eyes all big, can't even see, and then just be doing dumb shit.
Do you know when it all kind of changed for Jameis for me? I think because his redshirt freshman year was a year. I mean, we had never seen a redshirt freshman be that good. Like that was
correct.
He's the best redshirt freshman probably in college football history. The next year when they made it to the semifinal, and when he threw that ball against Oregon and it kind of came out his hand and kind of made it look like a clown, what I mean? And it was just kind of like, I felt like his reputation never really recovered from that game in that moment. It just seemed like it always was like, oh, that's Jameis,
Yeah, and they gave him Bruce Arians that year, and that was the chance to pull it all back together. And then it was like, nah. But you're right. I'm sure I would assume that he gives them a better chance. But again, the Browns. This how you know everything I be telling people about my theories about quarter blacks and black ups. Here's how you know all of it is true. All these articles be talking about how you got to bench Deshaun Watson. Though none of them be about how you got to start Jameis Winston. If that was a white boy back there, it was like if it was still Joe Flacco, it would be all about you got to go to Joe Flacco. It's so bad with Deshaun Watson. That is like somebody, anybody, everybody, scream. Just whoever next. Come on out there. They ain't even thought about who it is.
But wait, man, so the thing is like if he gets hurt, and they put somebody in there, nobody's going to be thinking about the cap hit, the money, the financial obligations, right? So if he got hurt, nobody would think about it. So like, wouldn't it just help if you just thought of him as hurt, like can't play? Like that's the
I agree with you. But what if Jameis then go out there and get hurt?
Who's that third string? Like,
I'm sure he's black. That's all I know.
I was going to say,
Vince Evans.
I was about to. Who's the old boy? Jason.
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson. Yeah, is it Josh Johnson?
Yeah. It might be Tony Banks. Where that boy Huntley at? I feel like he's somebody black up somewhere else.
Charlie Batch.
Yeah. Oh no, that was see Charlie Batch. Charlie Batch a whole nother level. They like Charlie Batch. Charlie Batch get to be the black up to the white man. Charlie Batch had the easiest job in the world, man. Just made people feel good.
Charlie was good. I mean, they really did like him. I'm trying to think. There was because actually I was going to bring this up because I was trying to convince you, to go for my boy. I'm thinking of doing the CJ and D'Amico thing. I believed in quarterbacks so much once. I moved to Tampa in 2007, and I was like, man, I think I could get behind this. You know what it was?
Josh Freeman
and Raheem Morris. I was like, I think I could get behind this, man. And it just didn't quite work out. So, I really do think in this instance that like Jameis, as a result, like somebody once said of Clarence Thomas, I'll trust a black man on his deathbed before I trust a Republican or something along those lines. And I'm kind of like that with quarterbacks. I'm like, I'm going to keep, if I really truly believe if Vince Young had him 3 months to get himself together, get into workouts, and they gave him a chance, I was just like, he could redeem what Jeff Fisher did to him, So and Jameis, and look, I don't, he's got his own nasty ass problems, but I do think in terms as a quarterback, maybe if you give him another chance, I don't know.
They're not going to embarrass me in front of these white people again. Did I say that out loud? Hey, I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. Turns out, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. And if you don't believe me, Sean, tell them how easy it is to sign up.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/Bomani. There you'll see that right now all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan, and all plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk, and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Bomani. That's mintmobile.com/Bomani. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Bomani. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only, speed slower, above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Peloton is more challenging than most people think. You've been watching the show. You know I put on some muscle, and it's literally all thanks to Peloton. Peloton got your boy in the gym, and it's been one of the best things I've added to my weekly schedule. There's so many challenging programs to choose from, and Peloton even helps the top athletes get ready. Their custom strength workouts for the gym keep you on track to push your limits every time. Peloton is also a place to keep the spirit of competition alive. You can track the leaderboards to see who can get the largest output. Peloton classes and instructors like Alex Toussaint are designed to help focus on your needs and goals. Whether you prefer to run outdoors, row or ride at home, or strength train in the gym, Peloton has something for you. I genuinely use Peloton, and I'm actually getting the results I want thanks to their great programs. So if you want to join Peloton, head on over to onepeloton.com and get started on your fitness journey. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com. Yeah, boy, ain't nothing quite like the peril of blackness.
Yeah.
Like, wow, he's embarrassing me in front of the whites.
Look, man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes you can't worry about that, bro. Sometimes we got to think about our
sometimes
own
you can't,
community.
but I realize the ones like Geno Smith is a bit of an inspirational figure, right? I can't tell if he's like the Josh Allen of his particular wing of quarterbacks, like how likely it is that somebody can replicate what his career path was. He's so good now, man. Like, there's no way that you better explain to somebody that he had, like, people treated, not only people treat him like he was bad. When he got the job with the Giants, they put his black ass on the bench so fast and let Eli keep the job for 2 more years.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And honestly, the sign that we should have had that it was okay for Geno was when Ben McAdoo was like, the only chance I have to save my job is to bench Eli Manning and start Geno Smith. That's when we should have known. Oh, okay, he might be over there cooking.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing was, I think we all went like, well, man, Eli's cooked as opposed to him cooking. But no, it actually could be that Geno was like tapping into everything we saw at West Virginia. And I don't know, man. My thing, because the Sam Darnold thing is sort of interesting to me too. And sometimes I think we really underestimate how bad organizations and coaches are and how much they can hurt a player's development, man. And the thing that hurts me on the Jameis thing is that Bruce Arians is supposed to be the dude he's going to thrive under, right? But for the most part, like, I think a lot of quarterbacks play for bad coaches and bad situations, and we never get a chance to see them right. And I think that speaks for Jameis, and I think we're seeing that with Sam Darnold, man. Sam Darnold.
I don't know how fair it is to say that about Jameis, though. I mean, let's think about this. And not that Tampa is like the greatest situation ever. Lovie Smith was the head coach when they drafted him. He had a good rookie year, and they felt so good about Dirk Cutter. This was amazing that they fired Lovie Smith so that nobody could hire Dirk Cutter. They kept him for a couple years, and then they brought in Bruce Arians. And we figured if somebody could make it work, it would be Bruce, and Jameis threw 30 interceptions.
But then you get another year. Wouldn't you get,
because they got Tom Brady.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, they felt that they needed Tom Brady. That was the right move, right? But like, to me, that ordinarily you'd be like, all right, the second year in the Bruce Arians offense, he ain't gonna throw 30 interceptions again. I don't think.
Joe, the last person in the NFL who had thrown 30 interceptions, was in one of the worst situations of all time, and that was Vinny Testaverde with the Bucs, and B, he was legitimately colorblind. And I know Jameis can't see, but that's all I'm telling you is that, and that was under the old rules and under the most passer-friendly rules ever. Jameis threw. See, it's not you. I'm not blaming you in particular. I'm not pointing at you. I'm gesturing. Okay.
Okay.
But you and Dominique, man, see what happens is y'all still over here with the antiquated paradigm about blackness, man. We ain't got to do this no more.
Man.
And so y'all be having me out here looking like I need a rabies shot
Man,
when I'm
look.
just out here telling the truth. Like,
You don't think EJ Manuel? You don't think EJ Manuel was done wrong, brother?
I told you about my dad. Hey, Tony Banks can play.
I thought but I see what your dad saw. It's Tony Banks, 6'4", Big Ten quarterback.
I see it with a lot of these cats, man. I really, really do. But we gotta be more judicious in the decisions that we make about who we gonna invest our time and energy in.
You know what's funny? The only black quarterback that I was like, I'm convinced this dude is terrible, was Pat Mahomes. I was just like, when Pat Mahomes got drafted at 10, I was just like, that guy's terrible. What are you talking about? TCU played against him, and I'm just like, man, I felt like he would throw bullshit out there. Like, I'm like, how is he getting away from these guys? How is he scrambling? He's not good. But I still didn't think he was good. And then, look at me. So
I will give you credit for being willing to say that out loud at this point, because I wouldn't.
If Pat Mahomes was so good, he would have been higher. He would have been drafted higher than he was. Like, if there wasn't a measure of truth to what I was saying, that, like, wouldn't Pat Mahomes be number one? If his gifts were so obvious in college and that everybody knew he was going to be what he was going to be, then that's a top 2 pick. Like, he doesn't slip to 10, right?
Didn't he throw for 800 yards in a game one time?
He did. I mean, but, Sam Bradford, was very productive, in college in a similar offense.
No, Sam Bradford wasn't throwing for no 800 yards, and Sam Bradford was playing for Oklahoma. Like, it is interesting, though, to look back on it, because I don't remember anybody even talking about him in the first round until late.
Bro, like, not during the season at all. I don't ever remember that coming up when we watched him actually play.
But I think our big knock on him really was system as much as anything else, right? Is that he was in the air raid, and the air raid to that point hadn't really, I guess Bradford had played some air raid. Like, there had been the air raid guys, the air raid is not the spread, right? It's not just saying one back. The air raid itself had never really produced a guy, but also the air raid had never had anybody as talented as him in the system.
Right. I mean, it's interesting to look at, like, Sonny Cumbie and Graham Harrell, and those dudes are hyper productive in that offense. And Pat was very productive in that offense, but I don't think anybody at the time would have been like, that's the best quarterback in Texas Tech history when he left. I don't know anybody was saying that. And
was he better than Cliff?
Yeah, was he better? Good question. I mean, I'm trying to think who was up? Zebby Lethridge.
Simons.
Do you think he was a legend in Lubbock that Zebby Lethridge was?
Hey, look, Zebby Lethridge got to do a Cotton Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that was a big deal, man. They played against USC and then Keyshawn Johnson in that year
and got beat like drums.
We saw a real difference in the quality about that game. I was like, maybe they got a chance. USC ain't as great as they used to be. Nah, we saw Keyshawn Johnson just going off down the field, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it was destruction. It was terrible. Yeah. It was terrible. But you're right, though. It is wild to look back on it. Like, there are guys, Joe Burrow is one where I look back on it and I'm like, what did we not get? So I remember Joe Burrow. I was like, how in the world was he not the starter at Ohio State over Dwayne Haskins? Rest in peace. But this is when Dwayne Haskins was stinking in the league. And then I went back and looked at Dwayne Haskins' rivals page, and I was like, oh, my God, that looks like an NFL quarterback right now.
And I'm saying to think we don't rest in peace. We'll never know. He never had a chance to thrive in another environment, man. So that's why I'm always saying with the brothers, man, sometimes you can't tell because, Yeah, Lamar Jackson got very, very lucky. Like, Lamar Jackson was very lucky to go where he went. Put it that way.
Yes, some of his bad situations, some of it is bad decisions. And what I mean by that is Anthony Richardson made what on one level is a good decision for the money, but a bad decision for the development. His problem is that he has no business playing NFL football right now. He should be watching NFL football, but he hasn't started enough games. The place where he needed to be to start these games is at Florida. He needed to still be in college getting the reps, but you can't walk away from the money when the money's there. But where is he now supposed to get the reps?
I mean, you know who else is a great example of this? And people are probably not going to talk about him anymore. Trey Lance.
Yes.
Like, don't you think Trey Lance should be in college somewhere? Like, again, you got to go when the money is there. Whoever knows if it's going to come around like that quite again. But, like, how was he supposed to get better?
Right.
Like, if he goes to the XFL or whatever, like that's going to be seen as a failure, and really that's out of the league. It's not the same kind of ball. But
I feel like Trey Lance's mistake was making the decision to go into the draft before the season started, because that COVID season happened,
right.
and you didn't have to come out. You could have come back and gotten that extra year. And everybody, I get it. You jump when the draft tells you that you can jump, but chances are y'all need to go back, right? Go ahead, and you don't need to be in that big of a rush. And now I think Trey Lance is done forever.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's gonna give it another shot, man. I mean, look, man, it's just like, I thought about this with Josh Rosen, man.
Still can't believe it.
I thought Josh Rosen was gonna be the best out of all of them, man. I think the thing is that the NFL, it would be great if they had a developmental league so they could get this in. But it's the one thing that I think, and especially now that these guys are getting paid, like I don't think you need a Bo Nix level number of years in college to become a good college quarterback. But I do think that the more you play college, the more games you play, the better off you'll be ultimately in the end. And I think once upon a time, I saw some research saying there was some correlation between starts in college and success in the NFL. Like it was it was
a long-standing thing.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I especially for guys like Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson, man, it's just like, like you're not, with so much of your game is based on your gifts as opposed to like your talent in the pocket or your skill in the pocket. Then you just kind of wonder, like, this is not a good place to learn on the job. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Especially now, man. Like, the way the game was going in 2011, Cam Newton could learn on the job.
Right.
I don't know how he goes now, because that was that was the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't play in what the NFL would call a real offense. 15 starts, bounce all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But look at him.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, is that like and you can actually I don't know if Cam would have benefited from being in college because there's really nothing left for him to prove. But like you could envision a scenario where it'd be like, it wouldn't hurt if you got some more reps and played in the same offense for 2 years.
It would have applied to him if he played in a different offense, but running the high school offense again wouldn't have done the job. And that's no insult to anybody involved.
No.
Just that offense was not going to prepare him for being in the NFL. And if they had let that man play another year of college, we could do a whole show just on that year.
He had to go. I mean, that's the thing. Like, even beyond it was just like, nah, bro.
There was that thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like you really couldn't come back after that. I mean, it took an injunction basically to get him to play them final few games. So, it was time for him to go. But you do think about like, oh man, another year. Also, I mean, and you as somebody who's worked on a college campus can speak to this. A year of being the man, of like managing fame, managing like, okay, like I've got these responsibilities and these responsibilities, being the face of a program, right? There's some value in that, I think. But I guess like Deshaun was that, but you know what I'm saying? But like accepting that, like I think that stuff is important for that position.
I remember how my senior year of college went being Bomani Jones.
Yeah. Yes.
And I didn't even, and that was really only for half of that year, being Bomani Jones. I can't imagine being.
Yeah, yeah, right. You went to college like 2 years early, so that's a whole nother kettle of fish. I was a late bloomer, and I was young in my class, so I was really immature when I got to school. Like I could do some things right, like I be in place in time, go to class, whatever. But like in terms of like relating to other people, like just having my together. Yeah, man. And like by the time I graduated from college, I was so much better at it. And I'm glad that I didn't transfer somewhere else or do something else and try to start all over. Cause like there's something about like remaking yourself in the place where you planted yourself. And it's something you can take from that. And, I think in the rush to, again, I'm not one of the, I mean, I believe kids should go get money, but like, I can't pretend that there's no value in that,
It's not as important as it seems, but the thing I have to remember is money means something different to me than it means to those people.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, absolutely. I ain't never need the bread like a lot of them needed that bread.
Absolutely. It's a cruel world out there. Some people got some obligations that we don't know nothing about, man. And they got to go. But if you
ain't got to,
without getting Dion type folks mad at us, I mean, it's kind of the thing I thought about Bronny. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I'm just like, I don't know, when you think you would have more fun at Ohio State or Duquesne for a year, being the man on campus, navigating all that stuff, but kind of out of the spotlight, but being the man where you are. Like, I can't tell him how to live his life, but I don't know.
I'm gonna wait a little while on Bronny. I'm trying to let it play out a little bit because you know how people are. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna let it play, but everybody can see.
I hope he's happy. That's what I'll say.
Everybody can see.
Yeah. I hope he's happy. I mean, like, again, like, I don't know how, you know, the decision or whatever, but yes, you're right. Everybody can see. And it's just like, it wouldn't occur to me like, man, you know what? Playing in Kentucky seemed kind of fun. You know, I wouldn't mind,
College it's pretty cool, guys.
Yeah, man. It's really cool. Underrated. It's really underrated, especially if you go in and you got the opportunity to take advantage of a few things, man.
It's pretty cool, guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But that is Joel Anderson. Check him out right here on the Right Time, baby.
That's
and
right.
A few other places. You know what I'm saying?
There's going to be some stuff coming up. We'll talk about it at some point. But yeah.
All right.
But I'm here first. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, dog, I appreciate you, man. Sean, you got prize picks for the people?
Yeah, I sure do. Speaking of quarterbacks staying in college, we got Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take Bo Nix, 189 and a half pass yards. We'll take more there. A couple other picks in that game. Alvin Kamara, 33 and a half receiving yards. We'll take more. And Javonte Williams, 0.5 rush or reception touchdowns. I'll take more there as well.
Sean, about that over, by the way, looking on my timeline as we talk here, a quote from DeMarcus Cousins on the Lakers drafting Bronny. I take it as a sign that the Lakers aren't serious about winning.
Oh.
Woo! Yikes. By the way, shout out to DeMarcus Cousins. Boy, he done gone bald and he out here wearing the glasses. He looked like he ready to go back to school.
Hey, he still got I'm sure he could find some ways to have fun up in Lexington again if he wanted to.
I bet he could. Bet he could. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original. Sean, you handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, remember, check out The Right Time YouTube channel. Check out our exclusive YouTube-only content at The Right Time YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.